Hi guys, welcome back to At Home with Holly. My name's Holly and I'm so glad that you're here today. We have a big preservation day. So I live on a third of an acre in the suburbs with myself and my 7-year-old daughter, and I love to grow as much fresh fruit and veg as I can during our growing season, but there are some things that our local farmers just tend to do a little bit better since they have the space and the time, and they're professionals. So this year I ended up getting a bushel of corn and about 30 or 40 red sweet peppers from a local farmer that I met at the farmer's market. I love meeting our local growers at the farmer's market so you can get to know their growing practices and ask questions and build relationships. So I was able to get these at a really good price. And today we are going to start the preservation process to get these into the freezer for fresh eating all winter long. So this is the pile that we're working with. We have them all with the husks removed and ready to go. Okay guys, so we have got our assembly line going. We have the water that is about to be boiling. We have our ice water here. We have a bowl to put the corn in after we have shocked it. And we have all of this. We have a bushel of corn ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and get this blanched, shocked, put in the bowl, and then I'll bring you back when it's time to get them off the cob. So blanching the corn, super important step. You don't want to miss it. It just takes a quick second. So, well, a few minutes actually. You're going to take each corn cob and you are going to put it in the boiling water for 5 minutes. Then you're going to put it in an ice bath to stop the cooking process. And then you're going to put it in the bowl and keep going with all the rest of it until you're done. Okay, so we have our water that we used, our ice bath, and all of our blanched corn. So now we're going to go ahead and get it processed. Okay friends, so I am about to get started on shucking that whole, shucking the way you shuck the corn, shuck the ear off the, I don't know, I'm getting ready to take all the kernels off of that corn that we just blanched. So here's my setup. Before I had this little gadget that takes the corn off the cob, I would just place an ear like on here and I would run my knife down it. And all the kernels would fall into the bowl. So that makes it way less messy than like doing it on a cutting board and, you know, kernels go everywhere and your house is a mess. So that's how I'm gonna set this up, and I'm thinking that it'll be the same. So you're just supposed to, I don't know if you're supposed to run it up. Oh, I guess you're supposed to run it up. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, it might take me a few to get used to this versus a knife. But, or I guess I could turn it like this and then go down. Okay. Yes, friends, this is gonna be good. Okay, so, all right, let's go ahead and get this stuff processed. I'm gonna put you on time lapse and we're gonna knock all this stuff out. I'm gonna save about, probably like 10 ears of corn, and I'm gonna I'm gonna cut them in half and vacuum pack them, just because Olivia likes to eat corn on the cob, on like a little mini cob. So I figured that would be fun to have in the freezer to have this winter. So, but the rest of them, I'm going to do them frozen like this so that I can throw them in recipes. I also have some pressure canned already, and those are really good for if you're gonna use them in like soups or something. But if you wanna do like things that you want the fresh taste of corn, then frozen is better. So these I'm gonna shuck, and then, which I'm not sure if that's what you call it, but these I'm gonna remove from the cob, and then I'm gonna put them in pint-sized freezer bags. So let's get started. So you can freeze corn and really preserve corn a whole bunch of different ways. I have some that I've done in the pressure canner that I like to add to soups and stews and such. I like to take some of it off the cob so I can have it as a fresh ingredient to add to things. And then I also like eating corn on the cob. So we're gonna do it all the ways. Today we're just gonna do the whole cob and off the cob, but I still have some cans in my pantry, some jars in my pantry of the pressure canned corn as well. So try it all the ways and see which one you like best. Okay, I got a little sticky and messy. So I'm gonna take a second to get this clean and get the vacuum packer ready so that we can get these in bags, get the cobs in bags, and call this project done. Okay, so here's what we're working with. We have our food saver, we have our pint-sized bags, we have our corn that's been chucked, taken off the cob. And then we have these cobs that I am going to cut in half and put in pint bags as well. So let's get going. All right, I think I'm gonna get the easy one done first and cut these in half and put them in the bag. So again, in my household, it's just myself and my 7-year-old. So unless someone's coming over to visit for dinner, like a friend or a family member, it's just going to be the two of us. So pint-sized bags and jars are what I like to freeze in. But if you have a larger family, they do make bags in different sizes, or you can make your own bag a different size, or they have bigger jars and all that kind of stuff. So do what works best for you. Whenever I have a big project like this, I do like to kind of check stuff off the list that's easier first. So definitely doing the whole doing the whole cobs first was a lot easier than divvying it up per bag. Not that either one of them was super hard, but a little more time consuming to do it, the loose kernels. So I definitely liked having the first ones on the cob done first to kind of make me feel like I accomplished something as we kept going. You guys, look at what we got. Look at all that. Let me bring you in. Okay, so we got 10 bags of 2-cup increments of corn, and we got 9, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Yeah, we got 9 pint bags of this corn as well. So the corn on the cob for an easy side dish for dinner. I love that. It's going to taste like summer all winter long. Okay, so next up is the peppers. So what I'm doing is actually sorting through all of the peppers, and the ones that are like really pretty, perfect size, I'm gonna save those for stuffed pepper freezer meals, and I'll take you along when we make those. And then the rest of them I'm gonna use for roasted red peppers. So I'm excited to be able to have this. This is a new item for my pantry shelf for me, so I'm excited to get this on the shelf. So here's what we're left with. I'm gonna get these washed up and ready for the oven. I ended up with just under 11 pounds after I took out all the guts. So I'm going to get them on a sheet pan and get them in the oven, and we'll get these things roasted. Okay, I still have this anymore, so I'm just gonna do them in 2 batches because I only have 2 racks in the oven, and these are full-size sheet pans. So we'll get these in, and then we'll swap them out and do one more tray of them. And when you roast these, when you're done, after the timer goes off, we take them out and we put them inside either a bowl with saran wrap on the top or a plastic bag or something, and let them kind of steam until they come down to a reasonable temperature where you can handle them, and then the skins will just slip right off. So we'll get these in the oven as soon as it's done preheating, and then we'll do the second batch. So these are definitely able to be put, I did the first pan already, but I'm gonna show you guys. You can definitely put these in the bowl right now, but on my last sheet, I'm gonna leave them in a little longer, maybe crank up the temperature just a little bit because I want a little bit of those charred edges too. But let me show you what it looks like to get them in the bowl. Let's see what we got in this very last tray. Still not a ton of char, but definitely softened up skin. So we're gonna roll with it. Let me get these in the bowl and then I'll get them covered and start putting the other 2 trays worth in the jars. At the bottom of the jars, I'll start with 5 jars. I've got a whole nother case of clean ones over here, but I'll start with 5 jars. Okay, friends, let me just tell you this. I have roasted peppers on a grill, under the broiler, and in the oven before, and these were the hardest to peel I've ever had. These were so hard to peel. I definitely did not roast them long enough. So if you're gonna do this, keep them in there until when you do a little test one, they slip right off and make your life a lot easier. So they did come off, but it definitely was a lot longer of a process than I've ever had to do before. So in the end, they taste good and it's going to be worth it. But just a little heads up, if you're ever going to do this at home, leave them in there just a little while longer. All of our jars filled. We got 7 pint wide mouth jars full. I'm just going to go ahead and take a second to debubble, and after debubbling I'm going to make sure that we're at 1 inch headspace, and if we're not, I'm going to pour some boiling water in the jars to take them up to 1 inch. But honestly, I jammed these things pretty full. So we're going to take some white vinegar, 5% acidity, wipe the rims. Okay, also let's talk about what happened when I was peeling them. So the first 2 trays I cooked for the amount of time that it said on the recipe, and they were definitely softened, like a lot, but man, those peels were on there. They probably needed another 10 minutes in the oven to have them come off easier, because those were the hardest peels I've ever removed from red peppers. Now, the 3rd tray was in there a little longer, and they were like overdone. So they slipped, the skins slipped off super easy, which was nice, but I would have liked them a little more firm before they went into the canner. Not a big deal because I'm probably going to end up pulsing these up in the food processor in some recipe, but just so that you guys know, I'll link the recipe that I used, and I would just keep an eye on them and try not to overdo them, but definitely do a little test and see if the skins are going to slip off easier. Okay, so I've got they're debubbled, they are clean, and now we're going to add some lids and bands. Again, I'm using 4 jars because I love 4 jars. I never have a seal failure with them. They're really thick, good quality. I love them. Okay, so now we're gonna put a band on every single one of these, finger tight. Now, it took me a long time to skin those peppers. So I actually had the pressure canner warming up and I turned it off so that the water is going to be like room temperature in there. You're gonna reuse these bands a million times, and eventually they're gonna like get a little bit bent just from life. Once they get bent, don't use them anymore. That's why I always have extras. But I just got 2 bent ones in a row. Don't use the bent ones. Only use the ones that are still good so that you get a true seal. Okay, so I've got all of these. These are all gonna fit into our digital pressure canner. So I'm gonna get these loaded and then they are going to process for 35 minutes. All right, we are all loaded up. And we are going to select pressure can. Oop. No, not water bath. Pressure can, 35 minutes. We've already inserted the jars. So that's gonna warm up and then it's going to vent for 10 minutes and then it's gonna ask us to put this regulator on, which just means turning this from vent to can. And then it's gonna have us push the button and it's gonna pressure can for 35 minutes and then it's gonna cool down and the jars will be done. You guys, look how pretty these look in the jars. So pretty. I'm so happy to have these to be able to use for the next year or more. It's awesome. I'm definitely going to do this one again. I'll just roast them longer. Okay, guys, since we're taking the time to do pepper preservation, say that 10 times fast, I, in my fridge, have, what is it called? Ginger. I have ginger. Oh my gosh, you guys, I need more caffeine. I have ginger in my fridge and I want to, we just need to get that preserved up. And normally what I do is peel it all up and stick it in the freezer. That way I can just grate it fresh whenever I need it. And I was watching Becky over on Acre Homestead and she took it, peeled it all, put it in the food processor, and then made little pucks out of it. And I make pucks with garlic and pesto butter and all the things. And I was like, that is genius. Let's make some ginger pucks. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the rest of the ginger that I have in there. I'm gonna get it peeled up. I'm gonna get it put through the food processor and we're gonna make pucks because that's genius. So let's get that started too. So when you peel ginger, I normally use the back of a spoon because it really gets in between all the little knobby things and gets all the little pieces off. Today, I had so much of it that I was like, give me a peeler. And I got all of the big sections off with like a regular potato peeler. And then I went back through with a spoon backwards. And that really is the best way to get between all the pieces. Let's get this washed up. Okay, friends, let me just tell you that this was the easiest way to preserve garlic ever. I don't know why I have not always used a food processor and just done this forever, but this is forever the way I will keep garlic and ginger and all the things. I've always done it with garlic, but now that I've done it with ginger, I mean, because how many of us has that piece of ginger in the freezer that like we put in there and we're not even sure what it is anymore? Right? We're not even sure what it is anymore. So this way to be able, it did take a couple times of me scraping down the sides, but this way of getting it all pulsed up and then just going ahead and putting it right in the freezer in pucks. So smart. Really a game changer. Perfect. Okay, let me get a cookie sheet and we'll make some pucks. Okay, we've got our baking sheet, parchment paper, and ginger. I was wondering if I should have made it a little more like a paste. So I'm hoping these stay together. More like a hockey puck than a I don't know what kind of puck, but they'll freeze up hopefully. Close enough. I'm gonna go put these in the deep freezer. You guys, these stayed together beautifully, came together beautifully. Oh my gosh. And they are so easy to use. I've already used them. They're so easy to use. And I'm so glad that I saw Becky on Acre Homestead make these. I'm so glad that I was able to have the ingredients and whip these up and have them in my freezer now. And I'm so glad that you guys were here along with me as we tried this. Ginger box. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today as we tackled this farmer's market haul from our local farmer. We can't grow everything. I grew corn, I grew peppers. I did not grow this amount of corn and this amount of peppers to be able to preserve these items. I live in the suburbs. This is a limited amount of space, so nothing wrong in getting a little help from local farmers and being able to put these solid products on our shelves. So I'm excited to have the corn and the roasted red peppers in the freezer for future meals. Future me is very happy about that. And stick around because we still have another, basically half of the red peppers that I got are with a perfect shape. And I decided I'm gonna make some stuffed bell pepper freezer meals. So stick around for that. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I really appreciate all the support and all the thumbs up and the comments that you guys have been giving me. It just really means so much. So thank you for being here and I can't wait to see you guys on the next one. Bye, friend.